on a second. Oh, we're live on Facebook. There we
Live
are.
on Facebook.
Listen, Zoom does not make it easy to know when you are going live on Facebook at all. It's just like, you're like clicking things, it's not working, and you look over here and it says, oh, by the way, you're live on Facebook now. Great.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Dale and Brian are back for another week because we heard that you haven't had enough of us yet. And so we're still here, still hoping to help you set some more appointments, convert some more leads, and have better conversations. Right, Brian?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what this is all about. I've said this is my quote, or a quote I stole from somebody, and I don't remember who, is basically there's only one way, there's only two ways to close more transactions: to either talk to more people or do better with the people you're already talking to. So that's what this show is about doing better with the people you're already talking to.
Absolutely. You know what? I love to mess with newer agents when they're like, how do I get more business? And I'm like, get more past clients. And they're like, that's not helpful. Okay, well, no, really, get more past clients. So that's what we're here to do. Help you get more past clients, right?
Amen.
Cool. All right, so the topic for today is, I got to program the topic here, Brian. So I threw in follow the no, but basically, so I'm going to talk about our technique of following the no briefly, and then we're going to listen to some calls. And really what it is just, do you have a methodology that you like people to follow when they first run into resistance, right? When somebody isn't going to do what you want them to do, when you want them to do it, or how you want them to do it, or who you want them to do it with. I have a methodology, kind of a formula basically that we use, which I call follow the no. Brian, do you have anything? So, you're training your agents, you're talking to your ISAs, your agents, whoever. How would you, knowing that you can't just hand them paragraphs of information, right? If you had to boil it down, how would you begin to tell them how to deal with first running into resistance?
So one of the things that I love to do, and it's probably, let me just coin a term here so that everyone understands what it is. Graffiti language. You're familiar with that concept, right, Dale? So a lot of people's graffiti is or something like that. So my graffiti, and I'm okay with it, I'm embraced this graffiti, is out of curiosity. So if you want to be more like Brian, I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but learn that phrase. And it's funny because Linda Landman has been great. She great interacts with us, great. She's some comments on some Facebook earlier this week.
Yeah, Linda's great.
And and I can see that she stole it out of curiosity. So to me, that's the greatest place. So Brian, I'm really not I'm not interested in talking to an agent right now. I am going to buy a house in the next 6 months, but I'm not really interested. Out of curiosity, what is it about an agent that you're not interested in talking to? Or I don't want to interview a second agent. Out of curiosity, why don't you want to interview a second agent? And the reason I love the phrase out of curiosity is, theoretically, people shouldn't get pissed off at you for being curious. It's like, oh, I'm just being curious. And if you truly come from curiosity, by the way, that will be in your voice. Now, if you use the phrase out of curiosity and you say it in an aggressive way, then people are going to know that you're not curious. You're really just interrogating them. So part of using that phrase that's really important is you have to sound like a question. So Dale, out of curiosity, and you can hear first couple things when you're asking a question, you can hear my voice inflection go up slightly. So yeah. I have a pretty low voice, but do that and people will know it's a true question and they're really trying to do it. So that's my general thing. I'd like to hear your more systematic approach to it and kind of get an idea where you're going with it.
Yeah, it's very similar. So let's do that a little bit, right?
Sure.
Hey, Brian, you know what? We've decided that we're going to wait until the spring and save up some more money before we actually get serious about buying a home.
Oh, Dale, I completely understand. I have a lot of clients who want to wait till the spring. So out of curiosity, what is the thing that's driving you? What's the thing that's keeping you from, looking right now? What's going to be a little bit different in the spring? What's different for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, great. So, hey, Brian, you know what? Actually, we've decided that we're going to list with this other agent that we met with, but we really appreciate your time.
So have I met with these people?
Yes. Or
okay.
We talked. Let's say we talked, right?
Okay. Because honestly, once they've signed a contract with somebody else, I'm kind of done.
Were you going to say once I've met with them, they're going to sign? I thought that's where you were going. You're like, this is totally unrealistic, Dale.
Right. I get 100% of appointments that I go on. No,
right.
No, it's not.
No. So you're following up with somebody. They had met with an agent, but you haven't met with them, and that's the answer that you get back.
Okay. So out of curiosity, do you feel it's in your best interest to only interview one agent? A lot of times I talk to people, and I think statistically speaking, 62% of people, sign with the first agent that they meet, but a lot of those people end up being unhappy. Out of curiosity, did you meet with anybody else, or did you just meet with that one agent? So I didn't ask him to meet with me necessarily, although I'm going to, but I did want to know, hey, did they meet with anybody else? I didn't say you have to meet with me, but I did tell them they should at least meet with another agent.
Got it. Okay, great. Now, the reason I wanted to do that role play with you, Brian, is because the out of curiosity is a great phrase, right? What it means is I'm going to ask you a question, right? Sounds good. And it softens the asking of a question. What I wanted to figure out is what question do you ask them? And you asked two different kinds of questions. And so I'll talk, before I say what kind they were, I'll talk about our process of follow the no, because it's basically what you did. In the first one, you did follow the no. In the second one that you did more of a lead, where you were leading them, right? Where you were
Absolutely.
you wanted the conversation. It was more suggestive, right?
Yes.
So what we do with our process, which we call follow the no, basically is the same thing that you were doing in the first one. It's, I want to understand how you made that decision. I want to understand what's important to you about doing that. I want to understand what you think you're going to get out of that, or what you're going to avoid by doing that, right? It's like, help me understand you. And hopefully everybody, so do me a favor, everybody, chat in if you recognize that that's what Brian did with his first question. And what was I don't even remember the scenario. It was, we're going to wait till the spring.
We're going to wait till the spring.
And what did you ask me? You said, out of curiosity, you asked me a question.
It's out of curiosity, what's the benefit for you for waiting until the spring?
What's the benefit, right? So you asked, what's the benefit? So Brian followed the no. He did exactly what we trained to do, right? He was like, let me understand. I'm going to ask you a question about your no. And what he wanted to do is understand why they were going to do it that way, or what they thought was important. I'm going to give everybody an example of what not following the no would be. Like, what's the opposite, right? So let's do that. You give me the same objection, Brian, and I'm going to not follow the no.
So Dale, honestly, we're going to probably buy our house sometime in spring, March, April, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay, great. So when you buy a house, what are you looking for, Brian?
Oh, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, under $200,000 in Bentonville, Arkansas, built after 2005.
Great. Now, is that isn't that a pretty normal question that virtually any agent watching this would have asked?
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that question. It's just not the right place.
It's not in the right place, and it's not following the no, right? Because, and here's the way that we teach it, when you're trying to figure out what to ask somebody, and when I say follow the no, obviously there has to be some kind of no. So what I teach people to do is look at it this way. If I said, hey, lead, will you get in my car and buy a house today? Their no is going to be whatever they use to reject me with, right? Which in this case is, no, we're not buying till the spring, right?
Right.
That's the no. So if I'm following it, I'm asking questions about it. If I ask other things, I'm kind of off topic. And oftentimes that lead feels that we're not being purposeful in our conversation, right? Because it's like, if I'm going to buy next year, I just told this guy I'm buying next year. I'm not really thinking about that stuff. It's kind of irrelevant for me to tell this completely strange salesperson what I'm going to be looking for a year from now, when I know that an hour from now, I'm not even going to remember this conversation, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not as purposeful, and it will end up with your lead expiring on you faster and wanting to get off the phone.
Yes. You're creating call fatigue is what I'm hearing.
Call fatigue. Exactly. Yeah. So that's following the no, everybody, when you run into that sort of resistance. Do me this favor, Brian, can you tell everybody, so in the first one you did, you followed the no and you wanted to understand how they were making decisions. In the second one, you were being more persuasive. Can you tell me why you chose to do that?
100%. So I look at two different scenarios. So the first scenario, the person didn't say no to me. They said no to now. and that's different. So when someone says no to now, then I'm curious about, what's going to happen all along the lines till I get to where I want to do. When somebody says no to me, I can ask them, so out of curiosity, Dale, why don't you want to work with me? But they haven't met with me, they didn't do anything with me. I'll be honest, when someone's told me that they've already picked somebody else, it's a little bit of a Hail Mary. And so I'm okay going into being a salesman, because I'll be honest, I feel that in that scenario, 99% of the time, I've already lost. When I used to sell timeshare, you get to the end of timeshare and people would go, want to buy this? No, I don't want to buy this. I would literally sit back in my chair sometimes and go, and I use this exact phrase and goes, guys, tell me where I missed you. And then they would go, what do you mean? You didn't miss us? I was like, well, this works great for you, and this works great for you, this works great for me, but this isn't something that you're interested in. Tell me where I missed you. And honestly, I got sales that way. They would go, well, it's really this. So really what I'm trying to do in that scenario, by the Hail Mary, if you will, is I'm trying to isolate an objection that I can overcome, because I'm just going to go with another guy and I've already met with them and I like them and I think they're good people. What am I going to do? So no, that guy sucks. I'm better. So you're throwing a little bit of a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
So that's why I went there.
Got it. Okay, great. So you know what I want for everybody watching us on Facebook, since our people that are watching on Zoom can't chat into or can't comment inside. I mean, you can chat inside here, but we want people to comment inside Facebook. Here's what I want to know. How do you deal with people who say, oh, I'm going to list with this agent, or, oh, we're going to buy with this agent, right? I'd like to hear that. Now, presuming they haven't signed with them yet. Okay.
Right.
Nobody yell at me about that. They haven't signed with them yet. All right, good. Excellent. So that's following those. So basically what you guys heard was a couple of different methodologies for how do you deal with people when they're rejecting you, right? I have a basic concept of follow the no. Brian does the same thing, unless he's in a situation where he's like, I got to turn on sales dude, right? I don't have time for fact finding. I got sales dude. We need to do sales dude before they leave.
Yeah. And, you guys think about that. And, if you always follow the no, by the way, that'll work 95. That's if you take anything from this call, following the no is a much better thing 95% of the time.
I just gave it a name.
Yes. So if you want to be good at this 95% of the time, default to follow the no, because it does absolutely 100% work. Again, don't be afraid to throw a Hail Mary, but if you never throw a Hail Mary and follow the no 95% of the time, you'll probably have an amazing sales career, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Should we listen to, let's see, Johanna McDaniel. She's corrected me before. God help me if I get it wrong again. I asked if they signed any contracts with the agent. Okay, Johanna, great. You asked if they signed with any agent and they say no, what then? Everybody chat in. Let's see it. Everybody message into Facebook. While you're doing that, Brian, do you have anything else to say about that?
Yeah, if somebody else is just, if that objection, if you will, is that I've decided to go with somebody else. One of the things that you can do if you're someone who's interested in starting the conversation, one of the things you can do is say, out of curiosity, what did you love about that agent? So you can go that way. And, if you've got good rapport with somebody, you can maybe do that, because you can get them start talking. I might say, hey, Dale, so out of curiosity, what kind of programs did that person have? I'm sure they must have had some great stuff. If you don't mind, what impressed you about that agent? So next time I can make sure that I'm doing a good job too. So it's not so I can sell you, but potentially it is. And then, you build more, rapport and keep going. And then you can say, hey, you know what, Dale, I understand that you're going to work with Bob from Remax, and Bob is a great guy. It sounds like he's got an amazing marketing plan. I am willing to spend 30 minutes of my time to just come over and show you what we do. If you'd be willing to do that, it may be worth 30 minutes of your time, if for no other reason that maybe it's something that you can have your agent do that I'm going to do. Just any kind of way to get in front of them. And then I'm just going to go, by the way, through my regular presentation as if that lead was exactly that they didn't have another agent. And I'm going to do the same thing I do at the end, which is, by the way, here's my close for all the listing people. I take a piece of paper, that's my contract, and I slide it in front of them. I said, unless you have any questions, please sign above your name. That's my close, by the way.
Nice.
Works pretty well.
You just heard the magic, everyone. This is how it's done. Johanna wrote, Johanna said same thing similar to what you said. While you're doing that, then I go to see the discussion about interviewing me as a second option. And Johanna wrote in buyer advantage program, right? So presumably she's like waving a fat a fat carrot in front of their face. Excellent. All right, everybody. Cool. So I think we should listen to a couple calls. I'd like to play mine first because it definitely falls into the category of follow the no, and I can show that specifically where it failed, right?
Perfect.
And so how about this? We'll play up into the no, and then we're going to have people tell us what the no is, and then we'll come up with what we would do, and we'll hear what the agent did.
Perfect.
All right, cool. Let me try to share the old screen here. And we have, by the way, we have 31 people on the Zoom today. That's fantastic.
That is amazing.
Thanks, man. We got a lot of people on the Zoom. We got to make sure we keep enough people on the Facebook too, so that people can chat and comment. I'm not super sophisticated, but I think if there's more comments and more activity, more people see this. And we have to change more lives, Brian.
We do. It's part of my mission.
Hello.
Hello, is this Thomas Brock?
Yes, it is.
So first of all, I really suggest that you do not ask if it's the right person. Always assume it's the right person. I can't play this without saying that, although I say it 500 times a month. Can't play without saying it because people will think that's the way to do it. That's not the way to do it.
You're muted. You're muted.
Am I muted? Hello?
Yeah, the little.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Here's my window here. Hold on. What's going on? Microphone. This is not working? You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't hear the call.
Oh. Hold on. Wait for it, everybody. Wait, hold on. Hold on, everybody. Sorry, technical difficulties. I'm going to stop the share. We're going to reshare. I have computer sound included. That's so weird.
We heard it until you paused it.
Oh, are you saying you didn't? That doesn't make any sense. Of course you wouldn't hear when I pause it, right?
My point is when you tried to replay it again, it didn't start.
Oh, okay. Be assumptive.
This Thomas Brock?
There you go.
Yes, it
Wait, here we go.
With the
I'm blanking out the name.
I'm doing fine. You're with who?
The Chris Weaver Real Estate Team
Never mind.
and Atlantic
Well, it's in
Sotheby's
there anyway.
International
Maybe
Realty.
if I talk over it.
The reason why I was reaching out, I was actually reaching out to a little bit of some older records. We've pretty low on inventory as right now. It's as far as selling houses. So I was wondering if you were interested in selling your property 107 54th Street on Virginia Beach.
No, not really.
Okay. Well, just to ask, would you?
All right. No, not really. Okay. Now, for everybody out there, right, this is nearly a circle prospecting call, which is it's not really. This guy took some action way back in the past, but it's an old lead. But when it comes down to it, if somebody has no burning thing going on and you call them and say, hey, do you want to sell your property? It's kind of a binary thing. They either do or they don't, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now he said not really. We're going to commend the agent because he's going to ask another question, right?
Be interested in selling in the future, maybe a few years down the line?
Possibly.
Possibly in a few years.
Something.
All right. So now if we were to say, and this is how we figure out what the no is, everybody, the no is whatever this guy would say. If you said, great, can I come to your house and list it right now? Okay?
No.
Well, the no is I'm not ready to sell now, maybe in a couple of years. That's his no, right? That's what we heard. Okay.
Yes.
So what would you do in the face of that, Brian?
In the face of that, so I like where he went, I would probably say, out of curiosity, in a perfect world, when would you be interested in selling your house? Are you 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? Don't know. Where are you at in the process?
Okay.
And
so you
for
want
me,
to sharpen the timeline.
Yeah, well, I just want to find out. If you call me about my house that I personally owned at the, 2 years ago, I'd have been like, I have no intention of selling my house ever because I didn't at the time. So, I want to get an idea where this person is at. And here's the other thing, by the way, guys, I don't believe people. And what I mean by that is if someone tells me 2 years out, that gives me permission to call them back in 6 months. Just calling to check in to see, Dale, I understand you didn't plan on selling your house for another 18 months, but I always check in to see in case anything had changed. So I'm looking for a timeline so I can basically figure out how to move forward.
Great. So what I would do in this, that's sharpening up the timeline. I think for me, in terms of following the no, I'm going to take the fact that he said that he would sell, that he would likely sell it in a year or more. I would ask, so what would have you considering selling it in a couple of years? First of all, I just want to understand that, right? What's the motivation, or what would happen to cause you to sell it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, I want you guys to message in what you would ask at this point, right? He asked, would you be interested in selling it? Not really. Oh, so are you thinking like maybe a year or so out, a year or more out? He goes, yeah, maybe, or something like that, right?
Great.
So we have some possibility there. I want you guys to message in what you would ask this guy next. I want to see what those are. And then let's play what this guy did. So we have something there, right? Brian, you and I talked about 2 options. Let's hear what this agent did. Oh, somebody's chatting inside Zoom. What's important about next year or year from now? Thank you, Gary Raker.
Great
Good to
script.
see you, Gary Raker. It's been a while. That's a great question, man. Let's hear what happened.
Okay. I'll go ahead and notate that.
Yeah, okay, do that.
All right, perfect. So what I'll do from here, I may follow up with you periodically, maybe in about 6 months, just to see where you're at that point.
Okay.
And then if you're a little bit close.
Nope. He just walked out the door. He
So
was like, bye.
here's a question that I ask.
I'll call you later.
That's a really cool question that can really help sometimes. So, Dale, I understand that you're not looking to sell your house for a couple of years. A lot of people I talk to are in that situation. We work with lots and lots of buyers. So out of curiosity, if I get someone who's interested in your house and I know it's not for sale, should I give you a call and let you know about that person?
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And I'm just asking them, if I have someone who wants to buy your house, do you want to know?
I like that.
It gives them this, hey, well, wait, this guy's not asking for a commission. This guy's trying to help me.
We just got a great one from Jordan Ostrovsky. What would the price have to be in order for you to consider selling right now?
Perfect.
I like it, everybody. You guys hearing that? Crystal Plummer wrote, what would be your dream scenario? Crystal, what do you think about that question, Brian? We don't have to be honest. We can be honest.
So I like things about it. It's a little too vague for me.
I think it's too big and open-ended, right?
Yes. Same idea. Yeah.
Dream scenario, this guy who you just randomly called up, who said he's not really interested in selling, maybe later on, he doesn't have a dream scenario, Crystal. So Crystal, what would be your dream scenario is a good question for somebody who is telling you lots of details and they want to do something and they're giving you lots of descriptions of things, right? If they're like, yeah, we really want to sell our house and we want to get it done quickly and we'd love to have lots of people come through and we're thinking big open houses and everything. If you asked, what's your dream scenario to that would be way more applicable. Crystal, does that make sense?
Yeah. It's also a great question for expireds sometimes. That question, I understand your house didn't sell. In a perfect world, what would have you liked seen happen during that? Obviously it would sell, but what other things? So basically if people have had a bad experience, believe it or not, you want them to talk about their bad experience so that you can have something you can handle their objections, even those objections aren't about you. My agent didn't communicate with me. This didn't happen. That didn't happen. Great. You know what? I'd love to sit down and talk to you about how we do that differently.
Yep. Great. Let me take this, or I'm going to unshare. And we got a couple more. Xanthia, tell me more about your home. Get them talking about their home. Absolutely. That's definitely necessary. I think that we would go to that step after we could see if we could get a little more interest in selling or a little more motivation in selling. And then Anthony Rollins is doing this straight sales dude. You want to hear Anthony Rollins?
Yes, please.
Anthony Rollins is going to put you in a car today. Here's Anthony Rollins. If you knew the market were definitely shifting and values were softening, would that shorten your time frame? That nice. Dude, he came out swinging.
He did.
Right? That's excellent. Good stuff, Anthony. Very cool. And I think, Anthony, that might actually be more applicable if the guy was like, yeah, well, I'm thinking of selling in a couple of years because I think the market's going to be better. So yeah. Anthony, I think your response would be even more applicable in that in that scenario. And Jessica Morrison says she loves your response, Anthony. Great. This is fun. They're so participatory today, Brian.
I know, it's great. We ran out of time and we only had one call. We only had time for one phone call.
Wait,
So
everybody, chat in. Do you have time? If we stay, if
I got 5 minutes.
Loud enough, if they chat loud enough and comment loud enough, can you play a call?
I can.
All right, listen, Facebook, we need like 5 do-its. Give me 5 do-its in the chat here, not the
Got time to better. I got time to better myself. That's awesome.
Nice. Hold on. We got.
All right. On that comment alone, I think I have to go. I've got time to better myself. I'm not even sure that I'm not sure there's any way I can possibly deny that from Jessica. So
Jessica Morrison, look at that. She's a closer.
I love it. All right. So I'm going to share. Let's see here. Do this. And all right. Is everybody ready?
Ready.
Hold on one second. I got a snafu here. Share computer sound.
Crystal Plummer says do it. All right, everybody's chatting in.
All right, perfect. Here we go.
Do it now. This better be a good one. No pressure, Brian.
Hello?
Hello, is this Suhey?
Yes, this is she.
Hi, my name is Grace. I'm calling from Curtis Realty.
Uh-huh.
No.
Yeah, we had been calling you and had a couple of conversations with you.
So I'm going to do a real quick thing that Dale does, and I'll do the same thing. Stop asking people if it's so-and-so. Make the assumption. If you don't hear it from Dale, hear it from me. I agree with it. It's important. It's frustrating. It's irritating. Hey, this is Brian with Curtis Realty Group. Just whatever it is. You don't have to ask them if it's the right person. I promise you, they'll tell you.
And what's with these big gaps? Like if that was me that you called, I'd be like, what the hell do you want? Get to it.
And so let's say this, guys, and this is important. I think you've heard me say this. I don't know if Dale said this or not. I'm not a huge script guy, but memorize. And when I say memorize, like be able to do it like this, your intro scripts. I don't care if you memorize the other scripts, but memorize your intro script, because everybody, we live in 2019. We get bombarded with telemarketers. I can tell you this, there's nothing more annoying when I pick up the phone and I go, hello, hello, hello. And then I finally hear somebody because it's an auto dialer. So don't do anything that that first 5 seconds is critical. Get on there. It's Brian Curtis with Curtis Realty Group. I'm following up because you made an inquiry about a house sometime in the last year, and we're following up to see what your plans are for 2019. Whatever that script is.
Let me summarize what you just said. When you call somebody, act like you know who they are, tell them who you are, tell them what they did and what you want to know. You should be able to rattle that off like your social security number.
Yes. And again, you've heard me say this over and over again. I'm not having you memorize most scripts. Intro scripts required memorization.
Yes.
All right.
Regarding a property that you were looking to buy.
Yes.
Okay, have you found it yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, and why do you think that is?
I have not put in time and effort to actually look for one.
So I like to have good calls, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to kind of show what this may not be the best one. You do not have enough rapport to interrogate this person. And that's basically what this person did. Like, why in the hell haven't you bought a house yet? Understand, you have not earned the right to ask that question. And that was the point of this phone call. It's not about follow the no. I didn't have that part of the plan.
I feel bad. I want everybody listening. First of all, I want everybody listening. Listen, me and Brian are not a-holes, okay? We're not trying to be jerks. We're not trying to be rude. But I think that at this point, a lot of you listening hopefully can hear that this is not an optimal way to enter a call or to conduct a call, right? I'm hoping that that's pretty obvious. And, I think it's helpful if we point out why it's not obvious. We already pointed out that the intro was very poor. Frankly, this person on the phone and, listen, they get mad props for making calls, getting out there and doing it, right? Because a lot of people just hide from doing these things. But they are leaving such open gaps and just having such an awkward conversation that this lead could easily shut them out. And they're very lucky that they haven't yet.
Yes. I'm going to play a couple more seconds of it.
Been out.
Mhm.
Joanna.
You've been out?
Yes, I've been out of town.
I see. Do you still want the property that you're looking for? I mean, if you're not putting the time and effort, that tells me that you're not really worried about it, and
Are
you don't care
pranking
whether
us?
you find
Wait,
it or
Brian,
not.
are you pranking us?
It's a real
You're
call.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So a couple of things that I want people to get from this call. And by the way, this is an extreme call, and I understand that it's out there, but earn the right to ask questions. And how do you earn the right to ask questions? You build a little bit of rapport with people. You treat them like they're important to you. You don't interrogate people, and you don't push them the wrong direction. So I'm going to fast forward this to the end, just kind of finish it up. But here's the
Can we
last
just
15
roll?
seconds.
And before we go, sorry,
Sure.
Brian, before we go,
No, you're fine.
let's role play how this should go for everybody, right? Because I feel like we have to reset the balance of nature before we exit this.
Perfect. Let's do it. So where do you want to start? So ultimately, here's a great question. So I don't remember the lead's name, but basically, hey, out of curiosity, have you found the house that you're looking for? Because first of all, then you don't have to say, did you find a house? Out of curiosity, have you found a house?
Yeah, you can turn that around. You can absolutely ask that question, and it's a great question.
No, I haven't found a house. Great. So in a perfect world, or in your dream scenario, I've heard people use either of those phrases. In a perfect world, if we could help you find a house today, is that something that you're interested in doing sometime in the next 6 months?
Or even Brian, you ask, have you found the home that you're looking for? No, I haven't. Oh, how are you going about finding it?
Yeah.
Right. We're opening up. You asked if we could help you, right? I also gave a statement that opened up the window of opportunity to obviously become the person who helps them find it, right? That's ultimately what you want to do. Can we hear the rest of this? I'm assuming that the agent never got to that point.
Yeah, let's just listen to the rest.
Thank you.
There's another agent. Well, if you guys don't want to, you don't have to call me. There's already another agent that's
Wait, rewind a little bit, please.
showing me.
Go back 30.
Are you looking? Are you looking though? No, you were talking to somebody else, but I want to know if you're looking or not, so that way I don't keep calling you.
There's another agent. Well, if you guys don't want to, you don't have to call me. There's already another agent that's taking care of this and showing me
From
property.
our office?
No.
So you already have an agent.
Let's just go. Let it ride.
Right. So here's the good news, by the way. This is an inside sales associate who no longer works for us. So let's just say that. But
why not?
Gee, I don't know.
How could you let her go, Brian? You weren't trying. You weren't trying hard enough, Brian.
I clearly didn't train them well enough. But here's the thing, and here's the number one thing that every team leader can learn from this: listen to your phone calls. So,
Oh my God. We should, Jessica Morrison said, we should have a YouTube show where you post bad calls. Names could be cut out for privacy, but it's so sad. Jessica, I really appreciate your suggestion, and I personally think it would be funny. However, I'm very worried, and Brian and I don't want anyone watching here to think that we're agent bashing or shitting on people, because that's not the intention. It's absolutely not. The intention of this show is to help people. But when you hear something like, when you see when you have an audible dumpster fire like that, it's really hard not to freak out about it. So we'll have to think about your suggestion, Jessica Morrison. But and here's the thing, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. Listen, one of the most difficult things in our industry, in running a team, in running a brokerage, in coaching people, is getting them to make enough contacts and have enough conversations so that they can do enough business and go to the next level. And if we're sitting here laughing at what people are doing, that might cause them to turtle a little bit more. And we don't want to do that, right?
we don't.
Yeah.
And again, I probably, if this person was still working for us, I wouldn't have played that call, or at least I would have asked them, can I play this call? So, guys, this is the biggest thing that I learned from this is no one is going to do business with someone that they don't know, like, and trust. So the first, again, memorize your intro script. We've said that. I'm going to beat that dead horse. And then the goal too, by the way, and this is how I look at this. I'll just tell you my goal. My goal, have a great intro script. Goal number 2, build rapport. Goal number 3, set an appointment. Those are the 3 goals. And by the way, they occur in that exact order. I don't try and set an appointment before I have rapport. And basically, I'm not going to try and shred somebody a rapport. There's all kinds of NLP techniques, and I'm a huge NLP fan. The number 1 rule of any NLP technique is none of them work if you're not in rapport. So, keep that in mind as you're making phone calls. You can have every script, you can have every close, you can do all that stuff, but if you're not building rapport, relatively irrelevant.
Yes. Brian, you know what? Thank you for that. I'm thinking I would love for you guys to send in, we should have like one episode where all the listeners, anybody who's interested, and we'll cut your name out like Jessica suggests, but send us really bad calls. Let's laugh at them together. That's one way that we would be willing to do that, right?
Yes.
If somebody's like, oh my God, I totally pooped the bed on this one, please play it. Let's laugh together. That would be fantastic. I would love doing that. So if you guys want to do that, that's excellent. Or if you want to submit calls where you've set an appointment, where you've overcome an objection that you didn't think you could overcome, where you're talking to somebody and they're punching you in the face and somehow you ended up turning the call around, please send that stuff in. Let's celebrate it. Help raise the game in our entire industry. Let us show other people what you've done. I can throw a link into the comments where you guys can upload calls for us to play, please. Or if you just want feedback. If you want feedback, submit them. Everybody, great. Jessica Morrison said, very good content today. Thank you, Jessica Morrison.
Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, everybody. I feel like we had a great call. I'm sorry we went over a little bit. We do respect your time. And I love where we're going and great conversation today. So I appreciate you.
Anytime I get to yell at the camera is a good day for me. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. Great seeing all of you. Check us out next week. Adios.
Thanks.